Okay, thanks for joining today, everybody. So I'll be doing a brief demo on CloudGuard Native. Um, so what is CloudGuard Native? CloudGuard Native is a unified security solution that can secure your public cloud environments and cloud native applications, such as containers and serverless applications. Today, I'll be focusing on serverless applications. Right. So before I dive into serverless, I just want to go over the dashboard real quick. This is my customer dashboard for AWS environment. I only have just one AWS account in this CloudGuard tenant. Okay, and I have a 444 assets in my inventory, so I can see the active regions here, and I can also see some of the alerts. From posture management. Okay, I can see some of the high severity and critical alerts. Okay, I can see some of the serverless findings, which include misconfigurations, vulnerabilities, and attacks, and so on. So if I scroll down, I can also see some of the alerts, some of the intelligence and threat hunting alerts, such as malicious user behavior or the traffic activities. I can see the trends here, the traffic trends here based on the VPC flow logs. So if I scroll down, so I can see compliance scores here. So these compliance scores allow me to see how well or how bad I'm doing in terms of compliance, right? And then I can see that I have 12 serverless attacks. Okay, so since we're doing a demo on a serverless application, why don't we dive into serverless dashboard, right? So I have a separate dashboard for serverless applications such as Lambda functions and Azure functions. I don't have a lot of Azure functions, so I have a number of Lambda functions. So let's do the test with one of the Lambda functions. So I have, okay, before I talk about the Lambda function, let me share with you the diagram of the serverless applications that I made for demo purpose. So basically, I have an API gateway that is exposed to the internet. Okay, and then I have Lambda functions, which would do the jobs, and then I have DynamoDB table, right? So you can make API calls to the API gateway using HTTP clients such as call, or in my case I'll be using Postman, and then Lambda functions will do the jobs. Okay, and then we have a DynamoDB table. So if I want to read an item from the DynamoDB table, I can basically use Postman to do a get API call via the API gateway, and then Lambda will fetch the item and then return the item back to me. So if I want to update the DynamoDB table, I can do post API calls, right? So what I'll do after that is that I'll be simulating a simple cross-site scripting attack, okay, and then see if how CloudGuard workload protection will respond to the attack. All right, so let's go back to the workload protection, and then let's dive into the entity. So this is an entity, and you can see that I have some of the security features, actually all the security features turned on. So firstly, I have a configuration scanning, so which will scan your Lambda function for misconfigurations. Okay, and then I have a vulnerability scanning turned on. So this will basically scan your Lambda function source code for vulnerabilities, dependency vulnerabilities. It will see whether you're embedding any credentials such as passwords, API keys, and so on. And then you can see that I have IAM hardening turned on. So what this would do is to, it will assess your function and see if your function is using very permissive role, right? So if you're using any a very permissive role, it will flag out as misconfiguration, and also it will suggest an optimized IAM policy designed for your function, right? Based on least privilege principle. Okay, and then I have the workload firewall turned on, which is actually for actively fending off API attacks, application layer attacks, and so on. And I have behavioral, profiling turned on. So it is continuously analyzing and profiling the function for the API calls, the source IPs, and so on. And then it can also flag out if there's any anomaly. And the structure of the function is seen here. So you can see that I have this is the function, and then the function has one trigger, which is the API gateway, and then the function has access to the DynamoDB table, okay, and then it also has access to CloudWatch. Right. The most important thing here is to make sure that the block or detect is turned on, which it is, because this is a workload firewall, okay, which will fend off the attacks that we're gonna launch. And then auto protect is also turned on, which will make sure that your function is continuously secured. Okay, now that we have checked the function, and we just make sure that the security features are enabled, let's launch the attack. Okay, before I launch the attack, let's do legitimate API calls, a couple legitimate API calls. Okay, so this is the API gateway endpoint. So this is the API gateway, and then it has an endpoint exposed to the internet. And let's go back here. Okay, what we're gonna do is we're gonna use get method to read the DynamoDB table. So we can just use the get method and click send, and then it will come back with the items in the DynamoDB table, right? So for now I have two items, two entries, first entry and second entry. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is to add another item, to add another entry using post method, right? So this is still legitimate API call. Okay, so I just need to basically insert a payload. Okay, so sorry, I just use a very simple one. Let's call it third entry, and then let's click on send. Okay, this will basically add another item called third entry. Okay, we can go ahead and double check in the DynamoDB table. Okay, so this is a table, and then if I refresh, there you go, we have a third entry, a third item, okay, in the table now. So which means that we can use Postman to basically update the DynamoDB table via the API gateway with the Lambda function doing the jobs for this demo, right? So finally, what we will be doing is we will simulate the cross-site scripting attack by inserting malicious payload instead of legitimate payload, right? So let's just come up with very simple malicious payload. Okay. Demo 123. Okay. Script. All right. This is so-called malicious payload. So then we click on send. There you go. We have internal server error returned by API gateway. So that is because if you recall, we turn on the workload firewall here, so which is basically fending off the attacks actively and continuously. So if we check out the alerts, okay, so not the positive findings. So if we check the events for the last 24 hours, so we can see that there is a cross-site scripting attack. All right. Okay, so in this page, we can see the alert in details. We can see that CloudGuard was able to detect the malicious payload, the cross-site scripting attack, and it was able to successfully block off the attack. Right, so you can see the details of the attack here. Okay. All right, so that is basically what I had to show for today. If you want to learn more about CloudGuard Native, you can check out our website, or you can check out our official GitHub repository, or even my personal GitHub repository. If you have any questions, please let me know. Otherwise, thank you so much for your time, and have a great day ahead.